If you miss the days of vintage NASCAR, well, I'm here to remind you that this race had everything in a classic NASCAR race. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to an episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Yes, I am back. I apologize for not posting Michigan. Again, as you can see, I moved to a new apartment. Still settling in, getting out new things to make sure that this looks somewhat nice. So I do apologize for that, for the lack of videos. But we're here for the Indy road course, the Verizon 200. And might I say, wow, that was about as good of a classic NASCAR race, I think, as you can get. Because I think it satisfied both the fans that are more all about action as well as the strategic part of NASCAR fans. This race, in my opinion, had everything. Everything but cautions, which I don't mind that at all. This race was just over 2 hours from start to finish. There was only one caution, and that was back on lap 2 when Justin Haley had contact with Joey Logano right before the inside backstretch, and he went hard into the fence, into the tire barriers. That brought out the caution, and that was the only time the caution was ever thrown. From lap 6 to lap 82 was green flag all the way, and it was a joy to watch because the last time we saw a green flag run that long, I believe, was back in Atlanta of 2016. That's how long. Obviously, this is pre-stage racing era, but still, a long time since we last seen a green flag stretch be that long. Of course, you had international flavor into Miss. Of course, you had a lot of international flavor into the mix. Brody Kostecki, Shane Van Gisbergen, Kamui Kobayashi, Mike Rockenfeller, Jensen Button, coming from different types of racing across different parts of the world, come and participate in this race. And they did not fare that well, except for Shane Van Gisbergen. But the drivers that dominated this race, Mexican driver Daniel Suarez, who needed to have a good run to have a shot at the playoffs, and the most dominant driver, Michael McDowell, led 54 of 82 laps to win his second career Cup Series race. And how about that? For your NASCAR Cup career, you win at two of the most iconic tracks in the world. Granted, it's not the Oval of Indianapolis, it's the road course, but still, you win the Indy at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and you win in the Daytona International Speedway, being the Daytona 500. But now, most importantly, Michael McDowell is the 13th driver to be a part of the NASCAR playoffs of 2023. But yes, it was very interesting how this race transpired. Right off the bat, like I said, on lap 2 was a 1-0 caution. We had Kamui Kobayashi get spun by Andy Lally. Then later on, Justin Haley got into the tire barriers after that turn 5 contact with Joey Logano. When we got back to racing on lap 6, Joey Logano saw 2022 transpired and thought, hey, I'll go do it again. Didn't work. Runs into the back of his teammate, I believe it was Ryan Blaney, and just busted up the front end of his car. He spun, but there was no caution. Michael McDowell, who had a fast car, started up front, won practice. Off the jump, turn 14, coming to lap 7, he takes the lead away from Daniel Suarez. And McDowell would go on to win stage 1. Now remember, there are no stage breaks on the road courses, so racing just kept on going. During pit stops, however, Daniel Suarez made a cheeky little move to catch up to Michael McDowell, was way more aggressive on pit road, was able to get up right on the 34's back bumper, and because Suarez had the #1 pit stall, he leapfrogged McDowell and he would come out as the race leader. And then you had this 3-man battle for what would be the race lead between Chase Elliott, Michael McDowell, and Daniel Suarez. Some very solid racing between the three, but out in front, it was 2 different drivers. That was Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski that was staying out to earn stage points. Hamlin trying to improve his ranking in the playoff grid, and Brad Keselowski is trying to improve his standings because he's in a tight battle with Kevin Harvick to jump ahead of him to improve again his spot in the playoffs. But near the closing stages of stage number 2, Denny Hamlin misses the corner, allows Brad Keselowski to catch up, as well as the 3 drivers who have much fresher tires. They were able to eat at the 2 drivers' leads, so now you have a 5-car battle for the first place position at the end of stage number 2. Hamlin would hold on to win that stage. Keselowski would actually lose a couple spots. Chase Elliott would take advantage, went 3 wide near the end of stage number 2 to move up into second place. So now it's the 34, the 9, and the 99, 1, 2, 3. But it was obvious that Daniel Suarez had the faster car. Under 40 laps to go, Suarez did not waste any time to move Chase Elliott out of the way, coming to, I think it was turn 12 or turn 11, moves Chase Elliott, moves him up out of the groove, and goes on by to go into second position. And then that is when Suarez's race came crashing down. With 33 laps to go, the leaders pit for what would be the final green flag pit stop. Suarez enters in second place, but he has a horrible pit stop. What happened was that the left front pit gun hose somehow got stuck underneath the left front tire of Daniel Suarez's car. So of course, when the crew went around to the other side, the hose was stuck. So the jack had to come back around, jack up the car up so that they could unhook the hose, and it was a mess. Suarez went from second within striking distance of McDowell to third, way out of the way. He was nowhere near Michael McDowell, and at that point, it was just between McDowell and Elliott. McDowell had a 3.8 second lead, but due to lap traffic, that lead started to eat away. In the closing laps, it was down to 1.5, 1.1. But McDowell, he drove a perfect race, was able to hold off Elliott. Elliott was just about 8/10, but not enough time. Chase Elliott manages to hold on for second place. Unfortunately, he held on for second place, but Michael McDowell drove an excellent race, not even excellent, a perfect race to score his second career NASCAR Cup Series win, leading 54 of the 82 laps. That is also a career high, the third win for Front Row Motorsports, and the first time McDowell will go back to victory lane since the 2021 Daytona 500. But I would even argue that this race was way more impressive than the 500 since McDowell was in the mix, but in this race, he was just dominant. He flat out outraced everyone. And like I said, he drove a perfect race, made no mistakes on pit road or on the racetrack, even when he had a ton of heat behind him. And Chase Elliott, a 7-time road course winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, still made no mistakes, didn't do nothing. He held his ground and was able to get the job done. Say what you want about Michael McDowell, you gotta give props to him. He drove a perfect race, and I'm very proud of him for what he was able to accomplish. Him and that team, with Blake Harris leaving that team at the end of 2022, there was a lot of speculation that maybe Front Row and that 34 team wouldn't be as competitive. They proved all of us wrong. They have outperformed, excelled everyone's expectations. This is certainly their best year ever in the team's history. This is Michael McDowell's best season in history. What they've been able to do this year is truly remarkable, and they have rightfully been rewarded as a spot in the NASCAR playoffs for 2023. Let's take a look at the results following the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. Michael McDowell wins. Chase Elliott in second. Suarez unfortunately settles for third. Tyler Reddick, good run for him in fourth, and a nice run for Alex Bowman in fifth place. Chase Briscoe sixth. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Shane Van Gisbergen, one of the foreign international drivers competing in this race, finishes in the 10th position. Very strong run for that 91 team. Chris Buescher 11th, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski, the top 20. A couple of notables: Brody Kostecki in 22nd, Kevin Harvick 23rd, Mike Rockefeller 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and AJ Allmendinger 25th and 26th, Jenson Button 28th. Then you see Ryan Preece in 31st, Kamui Kobayashi in 33rd, Logano 34th, Eric Jones 35th. Kyle Busch has some engine issues. He finishes 36th. Todd Gillen was involved in a crash late in the race, 37th. Justin Haley, 38th. And Eric Almirola, for some reason, was stopped on the racetrack coming to the start-finish line. He finishes in dead last. Here's a look at the playoff grid now with 2 races to go. Because Michael McDowell is the 13th newest winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, his name is now highlighted in green. He has an automatic spot in the playoff grid. And Bubba Wallace, who didn't really do anything wrong, drove the solid race for his expectations on a road course, but he loses 30 points, came into this race plus 58, now leaves plus 28, just above the cut line ahead of Daniel Suarez. Ty Gibbs minus 49. Chase Elliott now for the first time is now back inside the top 20, tied with his teammate Alex Bowman at minus 80. But also just a little nugget to point out, the 14th place is starting to heat up. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, they unless something major happens, they will both be in the playoffs, but both are just separated by a mere 2 points, as we have some major storylines to talk about with 2 races to go, Watkins Glen and Daytona, to wrap up the 2023 playoffs. First off, I gotta say, as a race fan, I love this race. I love NASCAR. Please, for the love of God, you want to keep stage racing? Fine, but get rid of the stage cautions for 2024. Please get rid of the stage cautions, because this, in my eyes, is everything I love about NASCAR racing. Strategy, great racing, natural flow of things. I loved it personally. And we saw some exciting action. There was a lot of being and banging, especially to the foreign drivers. I don't know, Ricky Santos Jr. is like hard-nosed American because he did not like to deal with the international drivers. He booted Kamui Kobayashi out of the way in turn number 1. And just 2-3 laps ago, he booted Jenson Button out of the way. He wrecked it. He spun him out. Now, granted, Button and Stenhouse made contact. Button got into him. Stenhouse got back, and they were having a little skirmish session going on over there. We also had AJ Allmendinger get dumped by Ryan Blaney just before the start-finish line. Allmendinger then said on the radio, if I get back to him, I will crash him. So we'll see if NASCAR does anything about that, since, he did, he did something that NASCAR would, as what we've seen them do in the past, frown upon. So yeah, but he didn't do anything, so I guess nothing is going to happen. But we did see some being and bang, a lot of great racing, great battles throughout the race, even though there was no cautions. And again, you don't need to have cautions in order for a race to be exciting, and this race proved just that. Now let's talk about some of the drivers. Daniel Suarez, man, you got to feel for him. I feel so bad for him. I honestly think that if he did not have that pit road issue, he could have won this race. I mean, he had the car, I think, to win, or at the very least be capable of winning, contending with Michael McDowell. Started on pole, very strong car. It's just that pit road mistake and just unfortunate circumstances. The hose gets underneath the tire. I mean, that's racing. Sometimes stupid things happen. So it was unfortunate for him, but now I'm more confident to see what can he do next weekend, since we're going to another road course at Watkins Glen. What can he do there? Will be very interesting to see. Same thing with Chase Elliott. Again, another top 5 finish on a road course in the next gen car. Still hasn't breaking through to get that win in the Generation 7 car. But again, another driver. You look at Watkins Glen. We know how great he is there. He's 80 points out. He's got to win. I mean, Suarez and Elliott, they're looking at Watkins Glen with great potential. Same thing with maybe a Ty Gibbs, who's going on the road courses, as well as AJ Allmendinger. The driver that you got to worry about is the 23 team and Bubba Wallace. They didn't do anything wrong, but they lost 30 points. They came in 58, come out 28 points above the cut line. And you're going to another road course. And now Suarez and Elliott have a lot of confidence going into that race. I think this is going to be another situation like last year where they start making moves, but it's going to ultimately come down to the final race at Daytona for the 23 to have any chance of making the playoffs, because I don't see him running well at Watkins Glen next week. And Suarez and Elliott, they're going to bring the fight to Bubba and to the field next weekend. For Michael McDowell, just a well-deserved, well-earned win. For what that team was, I still remember 5 years ago even, where that team was struggling just to be in the top 25. I even remember when Chris Buescher won at Pocono in 2016 when he was driving, I think, the 34 car. They were struggling just to stay in the top 30 in points. Top 30 in points. To go from there to now, they're consistently in the top 15 every week. Sometimes you see them in the top 10 for a good portions of races now. Truly remarkable, the growth of not only Michael McDowell, but Front Row Motorsports as a whole. And to get that contract extension just this week of McDowell staying on that 34 team for the next few years, who knows the potential of that team down the line. But I thought this was a great race. 8 out of 10. Wasn't the most exciting race, but great race still. Had everything I loved as a race fan. This does beg the question, what does the future look like of NASCAR at the Indy Road Course? The past, this is the third time we've done the Indy Road Course, and it has been more entertaining since the last 10 Brickyard 400s. I miss the oval. I want the Brickyard back at the oval, but after this race, I'm like, I still want the road course. I don't know. Maybe NASCAR can do a flip-flop. On even years, you run at the oval. Odd years, you run at the road course. Maybe you could do something like that. I don't know, but it was such a good race. That's why I'm like, I love the oval, but I don't know. I'm conflicted now. I'm conflicted. It's like, man, I don't know what to say. It's like I want both. Can I have both? But yeah, very odd day The drivers that you don't expect to be up front were up front, except for Chase Elliott. But like I said, Chase Briscoe 6, with the way how that 14 team is running, even though he's good on road courses, it was a surprise to see. But Danny Hamlin 19th, I think Harvick 23rd. Jones had some issues. Busch had issues. A lot of the top drivers were just non-existent. It was a weird but still very fun and very interesting race. What are your thoughts on the race? Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and congratulations to Michael McDowell, your winner at the Indianapolis road course.